Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the AFF Podcast, all for females in affiliate and partner marketing. I am so completely stoked to have one of my besties, a fellow Swiftie, a juggernaut in the affiliate publication space, and somebody who has just done so much incredible work building up her publication, and that's now kind of a little mini empire. Thank you so much for joining me this week, Jessica, from the Budget Savvy Bride.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I'm like, this feels just like a normal chat to me. So,
I mean, it kind of is. I mean, you and I know, have the gift of gab and we can sit and chat forever. Um, I typically start by asking guests, how did you get into affiliate marketing? So I do want that story from you, but I love that you and I basically got started in it at the same point in time and then ended up kind of taking different paths, but have always like just kind of, been in lockstep with each other. But how did you
yeah.
get started, Jess? Give us the story.
Yeah, so I started my website, The Budget Savvy Bride, in 2008. It actually, I don't know what day this will come out, but the 17th birthday is this month in May of 2025 that we're in now. So that's crazy. Almost ready to leave the nest, my business baby. But yeah, so I started the site while planning my own wedding in 2008, and then it was really a passion project. And then, learning about the different ways I could monetize and turn it into a business. Affiliate was one that kind of came on my radar fairly early on, but I would say I didn't start taking it really seriously until we attended Think Tank, which was, I was trying to look through my emails to figure out what year that was. Was it 2013?
2013, yeah. It
Yeah.
was in the fall of 2013 because our first affiliate summit was ASW 2014.
2014. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. I couldn't find proof, but I was like, I'm pretty sure that was the timing. But yeah, and so that was really the start of it. And of course, attending Think Tank and meeting so many people in person, especially like you, which is a relationship that's carried me for such a long time, and we still remain friends. Yeah, it was a quick I don't know, like I kind of just like fell in love with the industry and the people in it. So
That was a really good think tank. And it's funny because I've been talking to a few people. I had Amy Scanlon on a couple weeks ago. And it's so funny that there are so many people that, we still regularly keep up with, but that was the place where we met so many of them, Joe
yes.
Maddox, Nick, I guess. Eric Nagel and Trisha, there's
Yeah, Missy Ward, Brian
Missy and
Littleton, some
Sean.
OGs of
Yeah.
the industry.
I remember it was a session that I would think it was Ryan Stark, who used to be like one of the product leads at Share a Sale. One of his sessions at that first think tank was a literal like light bulb moment for me. And I was like, oh my God, I get it. It all makes sense. And
Yeah. What
um,
specifically do you feel like clicked for you in that?
I really can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember it was that session and just being like, oh, okay. So if I go do this, this, and this, and then like I just met the ModCloth team, if I go do that with all the existing content that we have on ModCloth, then I bet we can start making money off of it. And lo and behold, it
Yes.
Um, well, you've been doing a lot of really cool stuff with Budget Savvy Bride recently. It has evolved from a wedding blog to like a publication, a larger publication, to a book, to a podcast. You've done multiple TV show stints, you've spoken at events. And what else do you have going on right now? You have some sort of summit coming up. Tell me about all the things.
Yes, I love that you are just like the consummate like hype woman. Like you're the best in that regard. So I appreciate that. But yeah, so what do you call it? You called it a wedding empire,
Yeah.
my media empire. Um, but yeah, upcoming project, big focus for me right now. I'm working on a summit for engaged couples. So it's an online virtual event where couples from all across the US are invited to register and attend. It's completely free. And basically, it's all built sort of around like the introductory chapters of my book, The Budget Savvy Wedding Planner and Organizer, really giving couples sort of like the foundations to help them understand like how much money they have to spend, what they actually want out of a wedding, what traditions matter to them, what don't. So they can kind of move forward through the process with more clarity and confidence about all those many, many decisions you have to make through the wedding planning process. So really excited about it. We've got some great speakers involved, some sponsors. We actually just confirmed a honeymoon giveaway sponsor.
Ooh,
So
love that.
a couple who attends is gonna get the chance, or anyone who registers to attend will be entered to win the grand prize, which is a 4 night stay at the Margaritaville Island Reserve Riviera Maya. I have to like remember how to say the full name. But yeah, it's an incredible property. I actually got the opportunity to visit it last year and had the best time. And it was
I
actually
remember
really
those photos.
beautiful. And I mean, and the vibes. It's the Margaritaville Jimmy
Right.
Buffett vibes, but like in a classy, like upscale way. It was the best. The food's incredible. The beach is beautiful. So yeah, super excited for that too.
There's a Margaritaville in Palm Springs. It used to be the Riviera, which I
Mm,
liked it when it was the Riviera, because it was like, very mid-century modern, like Frank Sinatra Art Deco vibes. And now it's a Margaritaville. And I went there a few years ago. I love Palm
quite a
Springs.
pivot.
Yeah, quite a pivot, right? But we went there a few years ago for a friend's 40th, and we did a day of like pool hopping, and we had friends that were staying at the Margaritaville, so we started there.
Mm.
And I mean, I feel like the vibe is just the vibe because the colors are very on brand.
Yeah, it's like my favorite turquoise
Yep.
hues everywhere.
Um,
Did you see, did they have like the signature like flip-flop on display like at
yes,
yeah, that's
yes,
like
of
kind of
course.
the thing. It's so cute.
It's so cute. Yeah, and I remember the photos from when you went to visit the property. And I was like, oh man, that's A, on brand for Jessica, but B, like I would love to be there right now. So that's amazing for that couple. And I mean, I love that you're providing these resources. Back when I was doing wedding blogging, it always stuck with me that like this is the first time that many of these couples are getting married. This is the first time that they're navigating this. And it's very much one of those things where you don't know what you don't know and like how you're supposed to do these things and like what's the timeline, what's kind of like the necessities versus the extras. And I think that you've done a really good job of distilling like this is how you kind of work through that process, coming up with like what are your top three must-haves, what are the would be nice and the like forget about it. I think having those kind of keys and processes, and you do it so well in your book as well as on your website, is just so helpful for people that are navigating this. And especially because, once you get like parents and family involved, it can be so many cooks in a kitchen and things can get so like disorienting very, very quickly.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that really trips couples up because they start, making decisions more based on like what other people might want or think, especially like when parents or families are involved in like the payment side of things. And so, um, I really just want to empower couples to like stay true to what matters to them. And like the best way to do that is to get really, really clear from the beginning on like what it is that matters to you and what your priorities are. And so sometimes it's almost like we have to take a pause, like let's go back and remember like what actually matters, how much do we have to spend, how much are we willing to spend? Of course, everyone could always spend more, but we don't want to see anyone taking on debt to pay for a party at the end of the day, helping them avoid that.
That's been like one of your key points since the beginning is you shouldn't take on debt to just have, I mean, when you are really looking at it, it's a party. The marriage is the important part. The party is the fun part, but like don't take on debt just to throw a party. That's not very savvy.
Yeah, completely. And it's funny too, because I feel like so much of social media and of course wedding blogs, like I can't say that I'm not part of the problem at the end of the day, Pinterest, Instagram, all these things where brides especially are being inundated with this like inspiration of things, that people are doing that are creative or outside of the box or just like really extravagant, expensive. Like we're not just like comparing to like our peers anymore. We're comparing to like celebrities and influencers who are getting things comped or for free. And so it's like just caused the expectations to rise so much. But I want to try to help like relieve that pressure and encourage people to keep a rational head when it comes to that stuff. which might not be like the sexiest point of view, but I do think it's practical.
So, you have been using affiliate obviously since forever ago. What has been some of the more fun, like campaigns or affiliate driven opportunities that you've been able to build?
Yeah, what's really cool about like, affiliate is like it's a great foot in the door, right? Like oftentimes that might be the first chance I've had to interact with someone from a particular brand. Of course, a lot of times it might be via an agency, but it still is a great way to get the conversation started. And we've seen really great, performance with some of our affiliate partners that have proven to these brands that we can drive results and then it could lead to something bigger down the road. And so some of like I would say our most creative and like most fun partnerships. We've done a lot of stuff with like Cricut in the past, especially for like a DIY wedding planning audience. Those like craft tools are really the MVP of any DIY bride. So we've done some really cool stuff with them in the past. I would say we've had really good luck with like bulk flowers, especially for those who are, trying to be cost conscious. Flowers can be a huge budget buster, and that's before all this stuff with like tariffs and and things came into play. And so being able to like arrange your own flowers has been a big one for our audience as well. I mean, we've worked with like all different categories in the wedding industry, truly from dresses to invitations to even like online tools. One of our strongest partnerships now is Canva,
We love Canva.
which I mean, I'm obsessed with Canva personally, like as just a person, but also as a business owner and as somebody who went to school for graphic design. I use Canva more than the Adobe products.
Yeah, I love Canva. We use it for like everything. I mean, the graphic that I'll use on this, that when I on
Yeah.
YouTube, like that's obviously
And
Canva.
like even a pro subscription is like so affordable. It's like 120 bucks or something for the year. And the Magic Resize tool is just you can take that cover and resize it for Instagram story, like all in like one click and just like,
Love it. I
it's the
love it.
greatest.
Yeah, you should send me your affiliate link and we can include it. Yeah,
Yes.
happy to hype that. Happy to hype that.
Yes, I'm an official Canvassador
The
actually. So
ambassador.
yes. So because of like strong performance as an affiliate and because we create a lot of one of the things that's kind of come out of the affiliate channel that's expanded further for us is, we have created our own templates that we share with our audience and our readers that we've created in Canva that they can, add to their Canva account and customize like wedding invitations, programs, all of those things. And so, yeah, like that's something that came out of the affiliate channel and an opportunity that I wouldn't have had otherwise, but we had strong performance on the affiliate side. So very cool.
I love that you mentioned that it's kind of a good way to get the foot in the door. That's something that you and I have discussed, pretty considerably. But it's also something that is so good for brands because, working heavily on the brand side, we want to see some level of performance or some level of proof that it's going to be a good investment when, we're putting stronger dollars toward the investment. And the best way to test that is through affiliate. Is it the right audience? Does your audience actually like care about this product? And what I think on the flip side, it can often be detrimental is that brands don't understand that it requires work for affiliates, for publishers to create that content. So they're doing work and publicity basically for free with no guaranteed return. And I
Yeah.
think that one thing, you've done really well is kind of find a balance between, being able to say like, hey, I need, sponsorship. Like you have an amazing media kit that has great case studies in it. And that's the kind of thing that should be the template for so many other publishers because you have like, hey, we've done this, this, and this. We drove this data with affiliate, blah, blah, blah. And it's proof basically that the investment is going to be worth it because you have that data in there. And that's what affiliate's really great for is having that initial data and those initial results so that you can further prove the relationship out.
For sure. Yeah. I think it's been something that's obviously evolved over time and, we've had to test things on our end too, but it is always, a bit of a lift to really drive true strong performance for a brand. And so it's not something that publishers can just do for free. Frankly, at the end of the day, we have teams, we have people we have to pay, we have resources, we have to cover costs of and things like that. And so, there are like a few ways that we have still available for us to test performance on a very low lift way for us. A lot of that includes like offering like a special discount for our audience that we can promote, through a certain area of our website. We call it the wedding deals section. So like, of course, a savvy bride wants to get a deal, she wants to get a discount. And so it's a great way to test, performance for a brand on our side and also for them to test the effectiveness of our audience at the same time. And so, we see pretty good performance with that just in general. Our deal emails get opened like more so than any of our others. And so we know that our audience is always looking for ways to save. And, um, I think when we see strong performance with a particular brand through that channel, then we can kind of use that as like leverage or, we can go with proof basically and say, like, we're seeing great results with this. We think if we did like a full campaign, if we did, a dedicated blog post, dedicated emails, whatever the case might be, we could really, really scale this up. And so, with a site as old as ours, being around for 17 years, we have a high domain authority. We've always like ranked pretty well SEO wise before the Google apocalypse, but that's like another
We'll get
story.
to that.
Yeah, but there's real value in being listed and being featured, prominently on a website with like a strong domain authority. And so it's just going to boost your overall efforts, I think, across the board.
Yeah.
So
Well, so since you brought it up, the Google apocalypse. Now, we've seen struggles over the years. A lot of, Google updates have, been a little bit of a pain. I know that you had an issue a number of years ago where you got penalized, and you had to do a lot of work to claw that back. And then I know that this has been a little bit of a rough ride. Talk me through kind of like what's happened on your end and how you've had to kind of pivot, in order to make things work in your favor again.
yeah, it's definitely been a roller coaster. But
A
I
straight
think
up nightmare.
literally, I think, it's one of those things I think when you're running a business, you go through seasons, right? And it can be really, really up and it can go really, really down. And it's really just about, navigating that as best you can and trying to mitigate damage where you can. We did have an issue like many, many years ago. There were um like a Google, like a manual action, I think mostly due to like a plugin that we had installed on the site that was supposed to be no following some of our affiliate links that we realized wasn't functioning properly. And so we had to like edit that, because as you know, you're supposed to no follow your affiliate links. And we had to work to get that manual action taken off of our site, but luckily we came out on the other side of that, and we were on the up and up and on a really great growth path, honestly, both traffic wise and revenue wise through I guess probably what 2023, and then Google really started changing their algorithms at that point, a number of big updates. Um, and, it's been like real scary. It's been touch and go. I know a lot of publishers have gone out of business. They've completely shut their doors. They've, sold to other people for much lower than they probably could have in the past. I'm still holding on. I'm still hanging in. I think like for me, the thing that's kept me going is knowing that our information is helpful, and couples need access to it, and that it's helped people so much throughout the planning process. It's kind of kept me going. Like I have to do it for the people.
For the
Um,
people.
yeah, but ultimately what it's led me to realize is like the strengths that we do have at our disposal. Like I do know that when we get in front of our audience, we can put really relevant, helpful information and partners in front of them, and that's going to still yield like good performance for the partners we work with. And so that's really what's led us to sort of pivot more to a summit model. And we also have a paid community where, they can join and get access to all of our resources inside our community and also like network and like communicate with other brides who are going through the same process at the same time.
Are you still using like affiliate stuff within the community as well?
Yeah, so we're in the process now of moving a lot of our deals, sort
Mhm.
of, especially the more deeper discounts, the more exclusives that we're, getting through our affiliate partners to be community exclusives. And so it almost becomes like, a paid membership to like a discount club.
Yeah.
But then we offer them so much more in addition to that, like tons of our templates and printables and checklists and we're doing, almost like podcast style interviews like this with different experts in the wedding space to really just build out like a library of resources that they can access to help them through the wedding planning process.
See, I wasn't lying when I called it an empire. Like you got so much going on.
I'll do anything to not have to go back to a day job for someone else.
I feel that deeply in my bones. Um,
Yeah.
Now, you did something really cool a number of years ago that I have always re admired. You decided that you were done living in one single spot and you packed up and you traveled across Asia for 3 months with a company that kind of helped set you up with co-working offices, and you
Yes.
since lived abroad. Tell me about that and share, kind of the struggles or things that you've had to do in order to ensure that your business is still running smoothly while you traipse across time zones.
Yeah, it's been a journey, to be honest, in many, many ways. I think in 2017, I took off on that group travel program. I like to call it like adult study abroad. It was it was a company that is now no longer in business, and I think a lot of the ones that had started around the same time have all kind of shuttered. I just don't know if the business model was sustainable, but at the time it was reasonably affordable for what they covered, and they organized all the travel and everything. So it made it easy as a business owner. I didn't have to do the research on where I was going to live or where the co-working space was going to be. I basically had, a tour guide who gave me my keys to my apartment and said, the co-working space is here.
Yeah.
Um, so that made it really great. Like the people who are true digital nomads, I can't live that life if I'm being honest. That's not for me. Even now where I am currently, I'm in Mexico. I've been here for it'll be almost 4 years now. I have like my standing desk and my external monitors. Like I'm not a go to a cafe and work kind of person.
Yeah, same.
But but there are people who are. And if I'm being honest, like I would love to scale back my business in a way that would allow me that flexibility because I have built an empire of sorts, but it's also almost like a cage of my own making. And so it's interesting. I think like over time, your values and your priorities, might shift, especially as you get older, if you start a family. Like for me in 2017, 2018, I was in the midst of a separation and a divorce. And so that was like a big catalyst for me to sort of like seek out alternatives in life. And um I have loved living outside of the US, if I can be honest, for a lot of reasons. And I enjoy the slower pace of life, but I still work too much. So the work-life balance thing, I think, has still eluded me a little bit.
I don't think you'll ever not work too much, Jess, but that's just you. Um,
Yeah.
I relate. Um, yeah, I always thought that was really cool. And one of the fun things is that because you are a remote worker, you spent a number of years going back and forth between Mexico and the UK, and that was really cool. And then last year, you were everywhere. Like you hit up literally the entire world map last year, and you were able to balance it all while doing your business. How many total Eras Tour shows did you end up seeing?
I saw 8 total.
Wow. And how many different countries?
Not last year, but total. So she toured for 2 years. So
Yeah.
two in 2022, 2023 was that? And then
Yes.
5, no, 6 in 2024 last year.
So you had a couple in the US,
Hmm.
and then, well, wait, so didn't you do like Miami, Philadelphia, LA in the,
Yeah, those were the US ones.
and then London, Paris?
London, Paris, Milan, and then Vancouver
And
was like a
Vancouver.
spur of the moment. That was the
Yeah,
last show.
I
Made the decision like
squealed.
48 hours before.
I squealed when I saw you were going. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing.
And I have to tell you, I have zero regrets about any of the money I spent, like I have zero regrets about going that many times because what is happening now, I'm just like, I'm so glad I did all of that
Yes.
then.
I'm so glad that we had that too, just to like have a moment of girlhood and moments of
Ugh,
fun. And I like yearn for it every day, honestly.
yes, I go to those secret gardens in my mind every
Yes.
day, remembering our time together in Paris.
That
And
was so
yeah,
fun.
oh my gosh, just so many great memories.
So many great memories. I would love for Taylor to start her own affiliate program, and hire me to run it. Thank you.
I
Um,
mean, if I could get credit for all the people I've converted into Swifties, like I wouldn't need to work, you
You would
know?
not need to work. No. And
No.
Taylor Swift Styled is now using affiliate links. And like she like I know she's been using them for a bit, but they really popped off during the Chiefs games, not this past year, but the year before.
Yeah.
I remember there were I had talked to some of the guys at Fanatics and I was like, hey, just so you know, Taylor Swift Style, who, archives basically everything that Taylor wears and documents it. She's linking to Fanatics, but it's through LTK. You should holler at her. And they ended up having a really great relationship. And I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. My world's colliding. With an affiliate. It's amazing. I would love to have Sarah on the show one day. Like
Oh,
that's
we're gonna manifest that.
yeah.
She's cool. What I think is really cool about Sarah from Taylor Swift Style is she really like found a passion of hers that she could monetize. I feel like I lucked into that with the wedding
Yeah.
thing at the time. Now, 17 years in, I wouldn't say I'm quite as passionate as I was at the start.
Fair.
I think Sarah is still really, really deeply fascinated by Taylor and her style, and so I'm jealous of her in that regard.
And like you, like she's like an OG Swiftie. And like you're an OG Swiftie, and especially growing up in Tennessee,
Yeah.
I- like you guys are truly like, we love this, and like you do create kind of converts. And I think that sharing that and sharing that passion is just so much fun. Taylor was on that one episode of Jimmy Fallon where she's like, I will bring up Selena Gomez any chance I get. I feel like
Yeah.
you and I are kind of like that with Taylor. Like, I will bring up Taylor Swift any opportunity I have.
A
Um,
million percent. I respect Taylor Swift so much as a woman, as an artist, as a business
the hustle.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just so savvy, like so smart, so thoughtful, so intentional. Like everyone has nothing but wonderful things to say about her as a human being. And like for me, like that's something that I've considered to be so important to me as I do business and operate as a female business owner. Like I want to work with people who I respect and who respect me and who treat people well and who are kind and um like share my values at the end of the day. And so, I admire Taylor Swift, in that respect, just as a business person and the way she operates.
Yeah, and she's had her own fair share of struggles of like not being, like heard or listened to simply because she's a woman. Like no
Yep,
matter that she's had like the highest grossing tour or this or that or the other thing, there's always a level of misogyny that comes back around. Um,
completely.
and I know that you've had some issues with, getting people to listen to you in the past. What are some of the challenges that you've had to overcome, and how have you overcome them, to get people to listen to you and take you seriously?
It's been hard, and I wouldn't say that I've like completely figured it out or mastered it by any means. These days, I rely so heavily on ChatGPT to help me write emails. I will brain dump in there like these are the facts of the situation. This is what I'm bringing to the table. These are the things that like I want to communicate, but I want to do it in like a respectful way, but a kind way.
Mhm.
And I've found that to be really helpful because I will overthink so much of, is this going to come across too harsh? Is this going to come across too demanding? Like as women, we really are held to a completely different standard than men are, especially in business. They want us to be palatable, they want us to be kind under every circumstance. God forbid we put up even a little bit of a fight or have a backbone for ourselves or argue for our worth. I haven't had awful experiences with people, personally, but it's enough to where I have felt like I've had to be on the defensive a bit. And yeah, I do lean a little bit heavily on the chat GPT support for composing those communications. So that's like my secret weapon in my back pocket. Not
No,
so
I love
secret
that.
now, but
I love that. I mean, I think that whatever we can do to arm ourselves with the best tools to be able to stand up for ourselves, to state our case, I think that's really important.
I was gonna say that it's one thing I appreciate a lot about the affiliate industry in terms of partnerships, and as a good place to start is that so many of the terms are so clearly outlaid from the front, from the get-go. I've had experiences where I've formed partnerships outside of like an affiliate marketplace or platform, somewhere that doesn't have like pre-existing terms to work with that haven't necessarily gone the best. And like, I think that might be one of my bigger lessons too, is like really defining terms of partnerships up front. Not just in like the affiliate space, but I feel like that's one thing that I've learned from my experience in affiliate.
Is yeah, having those concrete deliverables and what everybody's going to get out of it is really important in partnerships
Hmm.
across the board. I 100% agree with you. I do the same thing with clients, like at first I'd just be like, yeah, let's work together. And now I'm like, all right, here's like an MSA, here's like a full, let's figure out exactly what you're getting out of this. Because people are quick to take advantage too. And that's not great as a business person who is also a pathological people pleaser, is we will pretty consistently go above and beyond just in nature, like by nature of who we are. And that's not always a great business decision because we aren't getting paid any extra to go above and beyond. And we need to know our limits and our boundaries. What is your affiliate marketing superpower?
Oh gosh, I think for me, getting into the mindset of our target customer, our target audience member. I think it helps that I was a bride on
Mhm.
a very tight budget back in the day, and I have a lot of empathy for all the things that bride is feeling. And I think I can speak to her, very well and, show her the value of, the products or services that we're promoting from our partners, in a way that makes it super effective, and I also intimately know like the timeline of the wedding planning process. So I know the timing that is ideal to get these things in front of those brides. And it's a really beautiful sort of like partnership when we find a brand that really hits. And I think, my deep intimate knowledge of like our bride's mindset plays into that a lot.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that you found a really good niche that like you're able to speak to, like literally from the most first person point of view. And you've been able to take that and become just such a powerhouse and such an expert in the field. And it's been really fun to watch. And having come from that publisher side as well, I feel like that gives me a little bit of an advantage when I'm managing programs because I can advocate for publishers better than people who haven't been in the publisher seat before because it
For
is a
sure.
really unique experience, and it's so different than being an affiliate manager or working at a network, being a publisher has it's such a unique set of needs and kind of problems and hurdles and expectations. And I think that that's something that's really underrated and under discussed.
Yeah.
I feel like we need a lot more publisher advocacy out there. So I love that you're always willing to kind of talk about that and explore that.
Yeah, especially for like the smaller, more independent publishers. There's fewer and fewer of them around these days.
Yeah.
And all along it's felt like we were sort of like the outliers of the industry in a lot of ways. And as I said, like I think the number of niche publishers is kind of dwindling. A lot of them are being sort of like bought up or, shuttering. And oh, we've got a visitor. Sorry, I got distracted.
It's okay. I'm her emotional support human, so
Oh my goodness, love it. Um, but yeah, and I think it's also incredible like to have seen like your career path like in the time that we've known each other, and you've really seen affiliate from like every possible angle. Like, is there an angle of affiliate that you haven't been in at
I
this?
haven't worked at a network.
True,
Yeah,
true.
but I've done agency, I've done in-house at a brand, I've done
You haven't
PR.
stood at a booth in Affiliate Summit West saying, I buy leads or I whatever that was. We were
I
like,
will
what
never
is
forget
this?
how horrified we were the first time somebody asked us if we bought our traffic. And we were both like, are you
Right.
kidding me? Do you know how hard we work to get our traffic? Like it was literally, I think you and I went straight for the mimosas after that because we were just,
Yeah.
I can't, I cannot.
Yeah, even to this day, I'm like grade A organic traffic, but it's just a little bit
Great
less
organic
than we
traffic.
used to have.
I love that. One of the other challenges my thought just came back. One of the other challenges that I know you've had because you're a top of funnel publisher is
Mm.
get your conversions getting overwritten by bottom of funnel partners, and that's something that I know we've worked through and like talked through in the past. What is your thought on like all this Honeygate? Have you kept up with that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's to me, I'm like, oh, you guys are just realizing that this is happening? Like, shouldn't that have been obvious?
Were you
Like,
born yesterday?
right, like the no shade or whatever, but um there's been a lot of them over the years. Like early on in the days, it was Ebates. Now it's like Rakuten or whatever. Because they got bought. Honey, Capital One Shopping, like they're all like the same sort of thing. And as a publisher, as an affiliate, when these coupon sites or toolbars or whatever they are, like come and ask us to promote them, it's like, well, why would we do that? You're going to steal our commission.
Right.
Like to me, it was like well, no, this doesn't make sense. But a lot of times they were, the toolbars were offering like larger sort of like CPA, than maybe you would get on some of your affiliate commissions. So it seemed attractive on the front end, but then like the long-term implications, it's like not great. Like you got to think about the long game too. So to me, I'm just kind of like, oh, like people are just realizing this and it's all of a sudden become a scandal. I'm like, this has always been the
This has
case.
been it.
Right. And it's just interesting that people seem to be becoming wise to it now. Not to be like I knew way back in the day, but
But you did.
but I did.
How do you combat that with new relationships? Is that something that you actively like, bring up when you're talking about or talking with a new brand that you're working with?
When we work with brands that we see like really strong possibility of like success with, we really try to push for affiliate exclusive,
Mhm.
codes and things like that so that it is like a forced attribution to us
Yep.
so that anything that happens in the middle doesn't have any impact on us getting those commissions, especially as a wedding publisher in particular. Brides, grooms, people who are wedding planning, the decision-making window, they're not impulse buying a wedding dress or like flowers or whatever the case might be. There's consideration period involved and a lot of the standard, cookie lengths of like 30 days, like we would not earn commissions on a lot of those things because the decision-making window is a bit longer. So those are things that we definitely have to keep an eye out for when we're working with brands and try to negotiate something that feels more appropriate given that like decision making window. But yeah, we should also ask just so we know
Just so
about
you know.
like if they're working with those like toolbar partners or not.
Yeah. I mean, and even like you don't even have to be like, who are you working with? It can just be like, what do you do? Like, do you have conversion lines or attribution rules in place in order to ensure that I'm getting credit versus, anybody who comes after me in the click stream. Um,
Yeah,
I think that's a really important thing for, especially given the prevalence of so many extensions, toolbars, et cetera. And, even just coupon sites. I think that that is an important piece for any publisher, anybody who's top of funnel leaning, to be able to bring to the table and ask, because that goes back to, standing up for yourself and protecting yourself, and, really advocating for the work that you're doing.
for sure. Yeah.
You recently went to PI Live. How was it?
I did. I enjoyed it. Hollywood, Florida, I'm familiar with because my family has had a house there for a long time that my grandparents owned. So I got to visit my aunt also while I was there. But it was cool. It was smaller, I think, than I expected. But the Hard Rock was a great venue. I totally forgot I wasn't in Vegas. You're in a casino, it kind of feels the same, but the venue was great. Met some really great people and got to reconnect with some folks that I already knew. So that's always a joy. So yeah, it was good overall, but you were missed for
Oh,
sure.
thank you.
No affiliate conference is the same without you.
I know it's always really weird when I go to conferences and you're not there. I'm like, where's my like partner in crime? Like, how um, what do you have coming up next on the conference schedule? Anything that you're eyeballing? I know that you have your summit, so that's probably like taking up the majority of your brain space, but anything on the
Yeah, nothing conference wise. This year on the rest of my calendar. To be honest, my sister is having a baby this fall, so I'm
Yay!
excited to make some time in my calendar for that.
Yeah, of course. That's awesome. Yay. I'm so excited for her. And for you,
Yay.
being an aunt is so much fun.
I'm very
It's
excited to be an
my
aunt.
favorite thing to do right now. Um, what's your favorite part about being in affiliate marketing, being in this industry?
I mean, I think the relationships, honestly, like it's truly a relationships industry. I've made some of my best friends through the affiliate relationships. Obviously, Sarah Margolis is another really close friend of mine. Missy Ward, like there's so many amazing people in this industry, and like the connections that I've made have extended beyond just business. They've also become friends and yeah, I just feel grateful to when I do get to travel to a conference, also get to see friends at the same time. So,
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite things is I hate only seeing my friends a couple times a year, but I love that I get like 4 days of concentrated friend time, and no other distractions, which is really nice.
and it's a write-off. No, I'm
And
just
it's a
kidding.
write-off. Thank goodness.
Who writes it off? The write-off people. Sorry, I had to make a Schitt's Creek
I know, I
reference.
love that. I'm rewatching Schitt's Creek. That's like
Ugh,
my comfort watches.
the best.
What's yours? Is it Glee? Is your comfort?
Glee. Yeah, I literally just restarted. I'm like, that's how I know I'm like not in a great place mentally that I'm rewatching Glee.
I feel like
I
that's super
need the
Greek.
joy in my life.
Yes, I feel that deeply. What is your conference outfit vibe?
I was waiting for this question.
You knew you were
Um,
at it, obviously.
I mean, what's so great is like, well, okay, so as I mentioned, I live in Mexico now, and so most of the time I'm literally like in shorts and a tank top. It's hot as hell here, and I barely ever wear makeup or do my hair because there's just no point because I'll sweat it all off.
Sure.
So like conferences are like a time where I actually get to dress up and feel like a normal human adult. So I do love like pulling out my little turquoise power suit or getting to wear a dress and heels because like I don't get to do that anytime otherwise.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. I think that you and I established very early on that conferences were kind of like our opportunity to like jazz it up a little bit.
yeah,
And that's part of the reason why I love going to conferences with you too, because it's always like, ooh, what's the fit check today? Like,
fashion
what's the fashion
show.
vibe? And
I
you
can't wait to see whatever sequin power suit you land on. I heard you talk about you're on the hunt for one in the
I
last
found
episode.
mine and I'm really excited. It should be arriving within the next week. So hopefully it fits because I don't have a ton of time to like get everything together, but I'm pretty
Yeah, when are you leaving for, is it Lisbon, right?
It's not Lisbon, it's Villamora.
Oh,
So it's like on the coast, which is I could not be more pumped about it.
ugh.
Thank God I had to get my passport for Taylor last year because
Oh yeah.
I literally had never been overseas in my life. It took 40 years for me to go overseas, and now I'm going for my third time in a year. It's insane banana pants. And
Amazing.
second time,
All thanks to affiliate marketing. Really?
literally. Um, yeah, I mean, when we went to Paris, it was you, me, and two other bloggers. And I was like, there's some stuff on here that I can write off. Like, we definitely had business
Oh,
conversations.
that was a business trip.
Yeah.
100%.
Um, and yeah, and then I went to China for IPX, and now I'm going to Portugal. It's banana pants. The suit will be sequining, and I'm very excited because I'm on a panel with all men. So I'm gonna just make
Wow.
and I'm representing the Performance Marketing Association, which I'm super honored to do. And I love that, they thought of me for that. So it'll be really good. We just did the run through the other day. So it'll be fun. It's a really quick session though. It's like 25 minutes for four people. So
Oh,
say like four words.
yeah. I'm like, they need to give you more time.
I could talk about it forever. Um, you are really big into self-care, and that's definitely something I've watched you lean more and more into. You do have like your sleep hygiene and like these routines that you do. What is your favorite form of self-care?
Ugh. Lately, I just really love laying in my hammock. So I moved to a new apartment recently and I actually have two hammocks now. There's one on my balcony right out here. And then we have a private rooftop out at my new place. And we put another hammock up there. So I've been laying up there and like listening to like meditations and just kind of like taking a pause in the day whenever I remind myself to do that.
I love that. I love
But
that.
yeah, I'm a big sleep hygiene person. I have my weighted blanket, which I can't travel with, unfortunately. That's just not practical, but white noise machine. Actually, Dustin Howes hooked me up with a pair of the sleep buds from Oslo,
Oh, nice.
and they are amazing. And we've been doing some like promotion for those. I'm a big fan.
Oh, I
They're
love
actually really comfortable to sleep in.
That's why I think he said that his wife said that too. And I mean,
I
I would
now have
be a
both. I
little
have the
pumped if
white
I
noise
was there.
machine and the earbuds.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
it's just like overkill.
I same. Like I have like the white noise machine. I have the air purifier, which makes its own noise. I have my weighted sleep mask. I have my
Yeah, I have
weighted
a sleep mask
blanket.
too.
Um, and yeah, I hate that I can't travel with my weighted blanket, but I think I'm gonna get a weighted hoodie for the plane
Oh,
because I can't sleep on planes, and that I think that's why I usually get really like my jet lag is really bad when I travel. Just
yeah.
high anxiety. How are
I
but
don't sleep well on planes either, if it
yeah,
makes you feel better.
there's a brand called Thera that makes weighted hoodies, and they're like
Mm,
10 pounds, so it's about the same as my weighted blanket. And I was like, I think I might have to get one because that's a long flight from here to Portugal.
please report back. I'll be
I
curious to
will.
know how you
I
feel
will.
about it.
I applied for the affiliate program too. So I will absolutely be reporting back on that. What is one piece of advice that you wish you had received earlier in your career?
Hmm. I mean, I think if I had received it, I probably wouldn't have listened to it. I was too stubborn, if I'm being honest. I've gotten a lot of great advice. I haven't taken it. I prefer to like learn my lessons the hard way, apparently. Um, I think, why advice I wish I had been given and taken, um, might be, start outsourcing or hiring to like allow myself to build more sooner. Because
Yeah.
I definitely think I was very risk averse and didn't really see the value of, paying someone else to do smaller things so that I could do more like business growth things. So I think I learned that lesson a little later than I should have.
Yeah, I definitely think growth early or being able to delegate early helps alleviate some burnout that can happen. And I know that it's hard to come back from burnout. It's
Yeah,
hard. And I know you and I have both experienced that previously and kind of consistently over the years.
kind of currently.
Kind of like right
That's
now, like It's fine. Um, all right.
I'm like, is it burnout? Is it existential dread? Is it our
Is it a
current
midlife
political
crisis?
climate?
Like,
Yeah.
what's actually going on here? I don't know. The
A
world's
mixture.
it's fine. Um, any last words? Anything else you want to hype, share? Anything else?
I mean, I think obviously like the Savvy Wedding Summit that's coming up in June.
The
Other than
book.
that, the book,
Just
oh yeah,
released
the
the
book.
second edition.
Yeah, yeah. So my book, The Budget Savvy Wedding Planner and Organizer, came out in 2018. Second edition just came out in April, and it is an expanded binder edition. So you can actually put like all your little contracts and stuff in it, like a practical, like 3-ring binder to stay organized. So that's pretty cool.
The second you dropped that on LinkedIn, I sent it to Trisha Meyer because her daughter Cassie just got engaged. And
Aw.
Cassie and her fiance are doing the summit. But Trisha and I had like talked about that, and I saw you dropped it, and I was like, "I'll buy this."
Aw, that's very sweet.
Um,
Thanks for the support.
of course, always, always, I always have your back. Thank you so much for coming on with me this week, Jess. I loved talking to you all of the time. And anybody who is looking for a fantastic publisher to work with in a niche category should go work with the Budget Savvy Bride because Jessica is literally the best.
Thanks. You're the best too.
Thank
I feel
you.
like I have to give you the little heart.
Thank you.